Okay, remember that they're changing my voice. So I was talking about Stephanie, right, and Sarah. And so that eventually turns into there's a female named Summer who comes briefly into the school. I see her. I'm like, wow, she's gorgeous. I hope she comes to this school. I'm going to have a crush on her. She doesn't come. She leaves. Then when I had a crush on a female named Kristen around 6th grade, right? She brings her friends to a dance. And I'm like, okay, she gets her to dance with me. And I act like I'm mad at her for it. Okay, and for whatever reason it came, maybe it was Big Brother doing it, I don't know. But I was trying to use that to kind of open a dialogue with her. Okay, and then for whatever reason, I get in my head, and I'm pretty sure this was technology, because this is 6th grade now. They've been running a SOP on me for years by this point, and they're using technologies to some degree for sure by this point. Okay, and I put "I hate Christian" on my pencil box. Okay, the teacher saw right through it, said, you have a crush on this female, da 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 da. And when we made groups one time, she said, who do you want in the group? I said, Chris Corona and Kristen. And they gave me both those people in my group. Okay? And ironically, he ends up dating her and not me. And, I'm trying to, I'm hoping they break up, doing little things, hoping they break up, but they didn't. And they eventually did, right? But, and I'm saddened. So society's like fucking my head trying to convince me to be an underhanded person, but I'm not. I didn't do anything foul, right? They're trying to get me to do that. So Chris back then, he's taking cards from people and doing things like that and bragging about stealing, so that Nico kid would brag about stealing too, and petty thefts, and they'd brag about it in class to some degree, in front of the whole class, right? Or at least Nico did, right? And that's kind of, I'm thinking, man, that sucks that this society thinks it's cool to brag. I'm astounded that they think it's smart. Remember, this is a private school. These kids are like, middle class, upper middle class, and the parents work at IBM and stuff like this. These aren't kind of ghetto kids, And that was at Almaden Country School, right? Ironically, ACS, right? ACs, right? C's A's, sees him, keep him from doing his thing, right? Again, of all the schools I went to, Almaden Country School might have been the most diplomatic about the PSYOP. There was this one time, where every female in the class, they start with me. And they say, ooh, Emeka, because they call me Emeka, right? My name is really Emeka, okay? But they call me Emeka. And they emphasize the E more than I do, because back then my dad was like, it's either said Emeka or Emeka. And I said, Emeka sounds easier to say, so I chose that one, right? And they were kind of calling me, and then they're saying, ooh, and they're pretending to like me, right? Think about all these heartbreaks that have taken place. And it was that year or the year before I went to San Jose State Summer School, and eventually I met this female, Kimmy, who eventually also broke my heart. So by the time I'm in 6th grade, there's like 6 females that broke my heart. I've had serious crushes on them, okay? And I don't have a single girlfriend yet, okay? And that kid had said, okay, let me just finish. Okay, that kid had said, that no one's going to ever like you but fat chicks and fat black chicks. And he said all black chicks are basically fat or something like this, right? Or a lot of them are, okay? And during that time, Sarah Galasco also said, no one's going to ever love you but your mother. And she said it like she cared about me. She's like, no one's going to ever love you but your mother. Okay, like I can't even explain how she said it. She said it like she's trying to help me. Okay. Now, during that time, these females are doing that thing, da-da-da-da-da. This chick named Holly Herman, she kind of accidentally, she's like touching my face or something, and she's kind of hot, and I'm starting to kind of have hormones and so on and so forth, and puberty is somewhere around that time. And she accidentally puts her finger in my mouth, right, when I had a bunch of chocolate in it, right? And she's like, ew. Now, also during that time, we're at a dance, right? And, they had dances back then. There's a female named Stephanie, Stephanie, that one of the chicks I talked about earlier, and her name Paulin, right? Pull on. Right, Kristen Davis, Davies, right? There's a lot of this wordplay when put together. It's not a coincidence, right? Chris Corona, coronavirus, right? Cor on a, Chris and Christ and Kristen, right? Chris and Kristen, right? When you look at it, boom, 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 boom. This is key that these people are part of some kind of social club, their families, and they've put them in that school. The government, one way or another, brought them to that school for the purpose of the wordplay, and they've hired them at their jobs for the purpose of that wordplay, to kind of put them in that area to create a certain effect, okay? And the exact kind of characteristics they had, a lot of them were very unique, right? These are smart kids, one of them very athletic, David Sellinger. Okay, looks like a young Captain America or something. It's very specific to what they're trying to do to me, and I don't think that's a coincidence. I mean, I'll go and put it at 98 to 100% sure when I look at the patterns there that is something the government did deliberately, and I'll allow for the possibility that on an extreme fluke that it's not, but it's pretty outrageous to think that small percentage is actually the case here. Okay, so we're at the dance, and I'm dancing with Stephanie, and I remember when we get too close to people, excuse my French, I'm going to be raw about it, you get an erection, right? You dance, slow dance. Even, so David Sellinger and me, we talk about it, and he said he felt the same way, right? Sell in gear, right? Seal in gear, okay? Dave ID, David and Goliath. Okay, so, psychiatrists might say he thinks that these things are connected, but why in the story Cruella de Vil, right, her name is a play on words for cruel devil. This is a common way that social engineers think, that Masons think, that authors think, that occultists think. And these people are dominant in society. The KKK had 4 million members at one point when America only had like 2 million people, which is like 1 in 50 or whatever it is. People in America were in the Klan. They weren't just occultists. They were in the same occult organization. And they said things like, Ayak, are you a Klan member, right? And they had different K words, Klan wordplay, which they got from the fraternity structure like the Masons and George Washington and Benjamin Franklin and various presidents, right? The Roosevelts and so on and so forth. Okay. So, we're at this dance, right? And I'm kind of going backwards, right? To not rub on her private place of my erection. It's kind of finding its way to her. It's like, I'm going for the bullseye. I'm like, no. Okay. And Holly Holman grabs my hand and puts it on her butt. Now, I would have been in a world of shit if Holly, a.k.a. Holy Herman, right? Herman. Holly Herman. And her man was Jonathan Wardman, who was in the grade below. Wardman. John. And John is my middle name. You see how there's patterns here that couldn't possibly be a coincidence. I mean, give me a break here. Okay. So then she goes, oh my gosh, he put my hand on, he grabbed my butt. And I'm thinking to myself, what if I did it myself? I'm thinking, I'm at some point, I'm starting to listen to Snoop Dogg, and then to some degree, I'm like, bitch, shut the fuck up one way or another. Even if I did it myself, work that out with me, okay? And I would have been in a world of shit if Holly Herman didn't say, no, that was me. And all of a sudden, no one gives a shit that I put my hand on her butt because Holly had grabbed my hand. You don't think it's still wrong? She didn't get in trouble. No suspension, no go to the office, nothing. Then I'm in class, right? My teacher, Miss Egan, in front of the whole class, she's like, I heard something very disturbing. I'm just going to say, I'm thinking, what the fuck is she talking about? Because I'm thinking, I didn't think it was what she was referring to. I'm like, what's she talking about? You know what I'm saying? And, well, who did something at the dance? I'm like, I want to know. Let me know, Then she says, Emika. I'm like, what the fuck? I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? And I start feeling that shy feeling on the spot, right? Nervous, kind of, just unbelievably, like, it's almost like I'm hooked to a machine where they're hitting me with radiation. I'm like, yeah. I'm like, fucking what the fuck, right? And she's like, and then Holly was like, no, that was me. Okay? And I remember, Chris Corona telling me, he's like, look, you should complain. Right? She put you on blast in front of the whole class. Okay? And then when Holly said that was me, she didn't apologize. Okay? You can't make this shit up. This society, and she's like the most liberal teacher you've seen in your life. Like she's not, she's not Mrs. Sullivan. Okay? She is, this kind of Nazi-like teacher I had before. She is like, I go as far as say that she best described as a certain type of Jew that that's how she looks, that insists on things a certain way. Okay, but she's kind of, when things go her way, she's like, oh, hi, oh, and she's like, save the world, save the whales. She's like almost like a hippie, but she's not a hippie. But she's also the type to put her foot down and say, you fucking black people should know your place, without necessarily being racist, right? It's hard to explain it, right? She's not a conservative. Okay, most people wouldn't describe her as a racist. But she wants whites, Jews, and LGBT people to be in charge, and that's fucking sickening to me.